It's going to be great.
All right, we're back, bashing the brain. Way too overdue, especially when I get Willie calling me on a Tuesday at 10 a.m. Bash, we should go live every week. We should do a weekly show. All right, Willie, I'm in. Hey, Willie, let's do a show this week. I don't know. Drayshawn Ross got injured. I got to, Elijah's in.
Listen, I freaking had a lot to do for Fargo. It was ridiculous. And also, the Olympics is a giant tournament. I understand that. But they're 16-man brackets. It's easy to break down.
And also, too, it was funny because, some of our loyal, faithful listeners, Sean, others, they're like, where is Willie? And I'm like, listen, Willie is in a Buffalo Wild Wings in the middle of nowhere, drinking Bud Heavies, talking to guys about how the pin seating system sucks. And you can't pull him away.
Well, everybody's been on my ass because I haven't called anybody back in like 2 weeks.
It's so funny because as soon as I tweet something, like I'll respond to some of the comments, like they're like, "You guys doing a show or what?" And I'm like, "If Willie can stop doing seating," and then I'll get like Ryan Holmes and others that are like, "Hey, if you get a hold of him."
Yeah, I've been getting texts. Are you still alive and stuff like that?
Well, you can track your activity because you'll throw out a random comment that gives away what you're working on. You don't disappear too much. You throw those little comments out there.
No, but you also this might be too much information, but like, I'll be like my wife. She. Like last week, she was like, "Let's go to this. I really want to go to this concert in Seattle." Like, I'm not used to that, right? I'm not used to I'm used to being in a hole and just working nonstop. Not like, hey, we have to go to the grocery store. I'm not even used to doing that.
Yeah. Well, it's good timing because the Olympics kick off for wrestling, kick off tomorrow. And, we'll go through it. Obviously, probably men's freestyle the most. And we'll kind of go through some of the lines and expectations and kind of make our picks. And I also, if you need the 101 on the schedule, go to BASCHAMANIA. I've got the schedule. Basically, it starts at 5 a.m. Eastern every day. Semifinals are at 12:15 every day, except for day one, Monday, 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. Draws for every weight aren't going to come out, which sucks, until the day before. So we're not going to know until each day what the bracket looks like for the next day.
Okay, so that's another thing that makes it really hard to break down. And that, I know. Not just for us, but it's like, okay, who are you picking at 57 kilograms? I don't know. I don't even know who's on what side of the bracket.
I know, and we see the significance at like 97, where you got Taz and Snyder. That could be the 97 kilo semi. I mean, that's obviously a huge difference maker in where you think these guys are going to end up, and we don't know that. 57 kilos. I guess we'll start right there for men's freestyle. Like, we don't know where will Roman be drawn in, where will Spencer be drawn in.
57's horrible because there's multiple guys. I mean, would you say 57 has the most factors that are unseeded?
Yeah, because you've got Roman Bravo Young, multiple-time NCAA champ, not seeded. You got Spencer Lee, one of the greatest college wrestlers of all time, not seeded. You don't know, are they going to run into Higuchi, who's the 2 seed, Micic, the 1 seed. Only the top 8 are seeded. The rest are just, drawn in. And that makes a huge difference.
Who's who's not seated at 97? The Iranian? There's a heavy hitter up there.
At 97,
I think it's the Iranian.
Yeah, yep, he's not seated.
So that's one that's. Who knows? You could draw Taz or Snyder first round,
Yeah.
So it's hard to pick. It's hard to pick.
And it's going to be when you look at, I mean, in men's freestyle, you've got Spencer Lee, you've got Zane Rutherford, and Aaron Brooks, all not seeded. They could face the 1 seed in the first round. That makes a huge difference.
Do you think? I don't know. I don't remember having this many guys. I mean, it's been a short history of UWW doing seeding. It's the way they're doing, but I don't remember during that period of time us having so many unseeded guys.
I don't either. And I honestly don't think our guys care. I think it's why they didn't go to some of these ranking series and get points. Like, you know, and for those who maybe don't know, seeds is not really seeds. The way UWW seeds things is it's a point system. And you get points throughout the year, and 1 through 8 are the guys with the top points. So returning world champs and medalists at the weight, guys who go to all 4 ranking series. So they're not necessarily seeds. It's a point system, and our guys didn't go to a lot of the tournaments. And some guys like Brooks didn't go to a single one. He won U23s at 92 kilos last year, and then focused on college and never got any points.
Yeah, and it's particularly hard, although not impossible, but it's particularly hard for the college guys, right? Some of those ranking tournaments, they're either preparing for the season, or they're just getting done with the season, or they're in the season.
Yep. Yeah. So, and I mean, if you look, you know, we'll reference the betting odds, because even if you're not a big gambler, which I'm on record thinking that gambling makes sports more fun, but it does kind of put in perspective where they think people are. You know, I think the lines came out initially and they were way off basis. They were way off. You know, 57 kilos had Micic, a 5-1 favorite to win the weight, to win gold, and had Spencer Lee, a 5-1 underdog. And, you know, the way gambling works is when money comes in, it moves the line. So as money comes in on Spencer Lee, his odds go down more, or well, they increase more and more. So by now, you've got Spencer Lee is the favorite to win gold. At the sports books, that's a American bias betting thing, though.
Yeah, I think they were bad to begin with, and then I think, you know, even when there's bad odds to open, the market can correct itself, because if you bet on them, they change, right? And it works out to where there's it makes more sense. It's more a reflection of who's betting on who. However, I would have to say the lines that I'm looking at is bet online. You have to think it's a 90% American market, because Spencer went from plus 500 to minus 110, and that doesn't happen. The globe doesn't think that Spencer's a minus favorite.
Right.
That's not happening.
That's because people like us are sharing the line, and people are going in. And I've used BetOnline for years, so I know they're a legit site. There were some comments about that. I like them because you can deposit crypto. So
yeah.
But yeah, so you know, and it has corrected to a good degree to where I think it's getting harder if you didn't get action in early. Sometimes it works out, but like I got Roman Bravo Young at plus 3,300, and obviously others did too, because he's only plus 1,000 now.
So right now Spencer's minus 110. He's the favorite. Stevan is plus 150. He's the second best odds. Higuchi is plus 400. Baccaroff is plus 700, and then everybody else is long shot. RBY is plus 1,000. Harutunian 1,600.
And for those who don't gamble, plus means what you'll win if you bet 100. So if you bet $100 on Roman right now to win gold, you'd win 1,000. Minus money means that's what you got to lay to win 100. So Spencer Lee minus 110, you got to put up 110 to win 100.
And again, when it comes to betting too, I mean, there's different picks under different scenarios. I think if you're asking me to pick, not knowing the bracket and just knowing the seeds, I kind of have one opinion. If I know all the bracket, the full filled out bracket, I'll have another opinion. And based on odds, I would have another opinion on what the best pick is.
Same.
You know?
Yeah, and you can have like
I don't think I'd pick Roman Bravo Young to win, but at plus 3,300.
Right.
Okay.
That's a great line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting. You know, we won't see these, like 57 kilos is Thursday, I believe. So we won't see that bracket till Wednesday. Because it's really weird. So they did Greco and men's freestyle right, where it's 2 guys a day. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Greco. Thursday, Friday, Saturday is men's freestyle. The women, I have no idea why they did this. It's 1 weight a day all week. So you've got 6 days in a row with 1 woman wrestling. I don't know.
hate it.
It's weird. I don't know why they
certainly unconventional.
Again, Greco and men seem right. Do 2 a day for 3 days. Great.
Mm-hmm.
The 1 a day didn't really make sense to me, but whatever. So yeah, so 57 kilos.
So 57. To me, it's Higuchi is scary. I filled out the picks for USA Wrestling. USA Wrestling journalist picks.
Do you know I'm boycotting that?
Why?
Because this is as petty as I get. I won the journalist picks for NCAAs in 2021, and USA Wrestling was so focused on moving right into the Olympics because we had all the COVID stuff and it got delayed, and they never announced the winners. And so I told Gary I'm boycotting the journalist picks until they announce me as the winner.
Are you for real? Did you not?
They never put the article out. And so I told him I was boycotting until it came out.
But really, did you turn your picks in?
No!
Get over it. Hey, so Higuchi's the 2. Haratunyan's the 3. 6 is Abdullayev, right? So I like that grouping. I like that grouping for Higuchi. And I would pick Higuchi to make the finals. That being said, you have no idea where Spencer and RBY and actually, you know what? I like that Zhu kid. Higuchi's the 7. I mean, Higuchi has the 7, who is Zhu. Zhu is the kid from China that gave Spencer a little bit of a problem.
Yeah, so I was going to bring that match up because Spencer beat him 10-9, and that was where we Spencer's looked so dominant on the freestyle scene. We've talked about it a lot where it's like we had questions of how is Spencer going to look, and he has just been lights out. That was the one match where it's like, wait a minute, how is Spencer's defense going to be internationally? And that kid impressed. That was at the last chance qualifier.
It was a really, really fun match and really gutsy out of Spencer because he gave up some big moves, right? He gave up a 4, sure. But I think he went down pretty big early and then came back. And actually, the second period wasn't very active, but he gutted it out. So that kid, he could give Higuchi problems. The way I see it now is I would take Higuchi to make the finals. With only knowing the seed, the seed.
Would you agree that I think we will see more positive than negative upsets in the seeds with Americans. Like, I think being unseeded, I think we'll see more surprises in our favor where, like, let's just say Lee drew Micic in the first round. I don't think Lee gets knocked out. You know, David Taylor Yazdani first round. Taylor beats Yazdani. I think those things tend to happen more than a bad draw, so to speak. And then, you know, I think we're going to be pleasantly surprised at where these guys get drawn in and how they perform.
I mean, I don't know. How do you know? How do you know? I don't know. But I forgot. I didn't finish my story. The Matt.com journalist picks. Right off the bat, I came to this weight and I was like, nope, I ain't picking an American. I ain't picking an American because somebody will be mad. So I'm picking Higuchi. And I don't really feel that way, but I like his path. I like his knowable path. And I'm not picking an American because I don't want to upset anybody. So that's that side of the bracket.
You know what? I don't know. I don't know if I think people are sleeping on Micic after winning Worlds last year.
Worlds?
But I still think a lot of people are picking Higuchi and Spencer. And I don't think you should count Micic out. I think he proved last year. He beat Higuchi in the finals.
Well, okay, so Stevan's on the other side. Stevan's the 1 seed with... He will have the 8, who is... Oh, I misspoke earlier. Abdullayev is the 8 from Uzbekistan. And then the 4-5 would be a kid from Kazakhstan and a Bakarov from Albania, who Bakarov is who Micic beat last year in finals. Correct? Is that correct?
Say that again?
He beat a Bakarov from Albania. Did Micic beat him in the finals last year?
No, he beat Higuchi in the finals.
He beat Higuchi in the finals. Okay.
Yeah.
A Bakarov is who beat Gilman in the finals a year before.
Yes, he won gold in 2022.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I really like a Bakarov. I don't know. It might have been that I was there that year and he surprised me, but I'm a big fan of him. So I think everybody, not that Abdullayev's bad, not that Cartbay, I don't see him as a threat, but I think everybody would have last year's world final as the quarter, Micic and or that's a semi,
that would be a
right?
semi, yeah.
Micic, Al-Bakarov, and okay, remember that this is.
But where does Spencer get drawn in?
I don't know. That's why it's.
That's why it's so tough. It's so tough doing this. You know, you don't know where.
It's really hard to pick. How do you pick any unseeded guy?
And the one thing we do know too that I will say is the way this is structured with 8 seeds in a 16-man bracket, we will not have like Spencer versus Roman first round because a seeded guy will go against an unseeded guy up and down the bracket. So
that's true.
So no matter what, because there were some people asking if that could happen like first round. No, that can't happen. Spencer and Roman would both have to be in the same quad and both win their first round. And then the earliest we could see that would be the second round.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's 16-man bracket. It's not like Worlds where it could be a 32-man bracket and you could get drawn in unseeded versus unseeded. Every unseeded guy will hit a seeded guy. Yeah, so that's a good point. But it
we might have to do bracket reaction shows Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Absolutely, we have to do a recap show.
Oh, every day.
But we got to do bracket reactions at least when we hit freestyle.
Yeah, no, I think 100%. In the way the draws, I'm gonna pull it up real quick so I don't misspeak. I think the draws will come out in between the qualification rounds, and then there's a 3-hour break before semis. They come out in between.
Somebody said, I don't know if this is true. Somebody said on a message board, it could be other places, but I saw on Intermat's message boards that they are weighing in at one place, and there's 4 hours between weigh-ins and the first whistle. That's not true, right?
The schedule shows weigh-ins at 7:15 Paris time, and then it shows weigh-ins at 7:30. Oh, okay. Weigh-ins for day 2 are at 7:15. Weigh-ins. Oh, it might be true. Yeah. So weigh-ins for the same day action, like first day competing, is at 7:30, and then qualifications start at 12:30, 1 o'clock, something like that. So yeah,
that's not normal.
Yeah. I don't know why they're doing that.
That's a twist, man. That's a big that's big for certain guys that, heavy cutters, especially day 2.
Yeah. Well, especially when you start talking about the medal round, think about this. So you have your day 2 weigh-ins are at 7:15. The finals and award ceremonies, so all the medal rounds, are at 7:15 local time. So 12 hours later.
Yeah. How about that? You lose in semis. You make weight the next morning and don't wrestle until.
Well, if you lose in semis, repechage is at 11 a.m.
Well, semi. That's what I meant. Semis, you don't have to wrestle repechage.
You know yeah. If you lose semis, yeah. Yep.
But now that doesn't hold for the repechage guys. But anybody that makes a semi, you're going to have 12 hours between weigh-ins. That's going to be great.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
great
huge
for them.
So where do you think, what's your expectation for Spencer? What is your expectation? That he medals? I think he should absolutely medal. Absolutely.
Well, I mean, I think in a typical bracket that's truly seeded, and it's like what the final could be round 1.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
The final could be round 1, and we saw him go 10-9 with a guy that hasn't done much before. Currently the 7th seed. And so we all think the world of Spencer, and we all think he's just a freaking juggernaut. Well, I mean, he is a juggernaut. But freestyle is freestyle, and weird things happen, and there's going to be threats all over the place, right? So Spencer's definitely a medal contender. He's maybe a title contender. Yeah. But he could draw a Micic, who's a returning world champ and huge. He could draw a Bakarov, who is a 2022 world champ and has also wrestled 61. He could draw Higuchi. RBY might be second round, who is a career 33 pounder, Yeah. And I think a really weird matchup. It's hard to even.
I'll tell you what. Here's a little RBY golden nugget. We were talking after he qualified, the weight for Mexico, and he said he thinks he would stay down at 57. He really likes how he feels. There's a lot of conversation that he looks sucked out, and he'll be better at 61.
Somebody posted a picture on the Intermat boards and said, "Man, he looks really sucked out." And I responded. I said, when the conversation first came up about the Olympics and RBY and 57 kilograms, I was like, "Yeah, this isn't going to turn out well for RBY." And then he went to Mexico, and he looked great. He looked fine.
And I think sometimes And I get it. You see a guy who looks sucked out, and instantly we think, man, he's sucked out. Sometimes they still feel good cutting down. And Roman said he feels good. He said, I could see myself continuing to compete at 57. So I like how I feel. I like how I compete. So I wouldn't put too much stock in thinking that he looks cut down, because he genuinely, and this was after he competed, he said he felt great.
And, it's...
Who's blowing your phone up at 4 a.m. your time?
Tell you who it is. It's a bunch of wrestlers. I'm not going to say the names, actually. I'm not going to say the names. It's a bunch of former college wrestlers, because I texted them last night that I have a fantasy football league, and I want to start another one. But actually, the one guy said, I said, I'll be the commissioner if I have to. And he said, I said, but I really don't want to. And it's in the middle of wrestling season. And he said, I'll be the commissioner if you promise to talk about our league on your show for 2 minutes a show. Done. Now here's a interesting point, though. Correct me if I'm wrong. Mexico, the tournament that RBY wrestled in, that was a 1-day weigh-in.
Yeah. Yep.
Right. So it is a different animal. It's going to be a different animal for him if he makes day 2, has to weigh in a second time. Now, we just mentioned that weigh-ins are oddly early, which will benefit him, benefit Micic. But yeah, now, I mean, you have to mention it. We think he looked good at Mexico, but it was a 1-day weigh-in.
Yeah, and he felt good, and I think that's very important, because a lot of people say he's too sucked down. He's too sucked down. Yes, he does look like that, but even when he wrestled 33 in college, he never looked like he was. He always kind of had that appearance.
But it's one thing to make the weight, hydrate, and wrestle.
Yeah.
It's another thing to make the weight and wrestle with in the back of your mind saying, I got to make weight at the end of today.
Yeah. No, 100%.
I got to watch it, So,
yep.
That's an unknown too.
So, all right. Well, that's 57.
Well, I am taking Higuchi. I'm taking Higuchi. Who are you taking? The Gooch.
It's so tough to say. It really is, without knowing where they fall. I would say Spencer's probably my favorite right now. Okay. I think he's looked so dominant. I think he'll make adjustments from the 10-9 match. I think he looks ready to go. I don't know. I'm going Spencer.
I don't know. Spencer wins, zero surprise.
I also
part of me's like just the purest is like maybe I'm just hung up on. It's hard for me to pick somebody. I don't know who the path is.
I also, and I know it's my bias because I love Roman, I am so high on him to medal at the Olympics. I can't state enough how much I like him to medal, but I know it's bias. I know bias plays into it.
Here's another thing about Spencer. And so, because I know we're going to get to 86 and you're going to say, well, the people that are listening are going to say, well, Willie, how can you have reservations about Spencer but not reservations about Aaron Brooks? And here's why. Aaron Brooks beat David Taylor.
Yeah.
Spencer and Aaron Brooks, did he win U23s?
Yeah, he won last year with ease. He's been competing.
Because of Spencer's health, we haven't seen him a whole heck of a lot. There's not a lot of transitive properties that we can say, okay, well, he beat this guy, so he's here. The only person he beat with domestic guys, that's no fault of his own. He was hurt the years before that, and so we just don't have the data on him to compare to world competitors.
I also think that helps him because I think these guys haven't really got to feel him, and that's true. All these high-level guys will say how great it is to get a feel from them. You know, I just had Jesse Mendez on not too long ago, and
especially Spencer, because everybody that touches him says he's super freaky.
They're not going to know what hit them when they get turned. They're just not going to know what hit them.
Right, and they never felt him.
Yeah. So I think that plays into... So I think my pick is Spencer, and I'm very, very bullish on Roman. I wish I could put more on him at plus 3,300.
Okay, so that's what was my next question. Based on odds, who's your play?
Roman.
Spencer minus 110, Stéphane plus 150, the Gooch plus 400.
I don't typically bet the player, the team, the athlete. I bet the line. You play the line. For me, trying to bet Spencer Lee at minus money, you have to. There's more risk than reward. Mm-hmm. I think when you can 10x your money on Roman, that for me, or 33x if you got him early like I did.
Good God, I wish I would have got in on that early. Spencer at plus 500 and Roman at 3,300.
Yep. And I would keep an eye on the lines, and I'll tweet them out. But I think, if international money does come in, it's going to typically come against the Americans. You're typically going to see money come in on locals. People are going to pretty much say, I think my guy is going to win, and that's how they go and bet. Sure. But my favorite line, without a doubt, is there's not a lot of upside for Spencer being the favorite at minus 110. I think, I'd hate to bet Spencer and then he has Higuchi first round. You know what I mean? Where it's like you get a lot more play with
of course.
With big plus money.
All right, 65 kilograms. Your top seed is Tavanian of Armenia. He'll be on a bracket. The 8 is Ochir of Mongolia. Also on that side, the semi would be either Seabass or the Moldovan. And bro, that side is nice.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're talking about only a 16-man bracket, and the top seed he's not top 4 in the world as far as rankings, like real rankings. And so I'm looking at Flo's rankings right now, to be honest. The 1, 4, and 5 ranked in the world is 7, 11, and 14.
Yeah. It's really weird. UWW is trying to incentivize people to compete with points and seeds, and they're basically saying we really don't care.
Well, that's fine. That's great. Because some people will say they don't care, and some people, depending upon the result of this bracket, where somebody that's not considered to be one of the best in the world comes out of that side and takes second and bronze or second and fifth, people are going to be like, whoa. Mm-hmm. If we would have went to these tournaments and outplaced them guys, we would have been seeded and we would have had a nice path. So, and I'm really in favor of what UWW does, especially with that they've expanded the seeds to 8.
Now here's the flip side though to that. You can go compete, get a nice quote unquote path, and then you can get Zane first round.
I would rather control my own destiny.
No, I agree.
Sebastian Rivera did the damn thing. He's a 4.
Yep.
Right?
Yep, I agree.
I would rather control my own destiny than say, well, it doesn't matter because I could draw the best guy regardless. And, this quad was really messed up by the Olympics being in 2021.
Yep.
By Russia not being in, by certain travel restrictions. And it was just a goofy quad. And so I think we see a little bit more stability in the rankings going forward. When I say rankings, I mean seeds. So, yeah.
So, yeah, this will be an interesting one again to see where these guys get drawn in,
So, again, Tavanian the 1. The 4-5 is Rivera and a Moldovan who I don't really know too much about, to be honest with you. He's ranked 14th in the world. And, man, the guy you pick there, to me, is the 8 seed.
I was just going to say, he's been an American killer. He has just destroyed every American that he competes against.
He's beaten Nick Lee multiple times, correct?
So he beat his path as far as taking out Americans just in this quad. He took out Yanni. He took out McKenna. He's taking out everybody. I mean, he went on a tear starting in 2022 at the Freestyle World Cup. He beat Yanni. Then he beat McKenna and Evan Henderson at the Zagreb Open.
Mm-hmm.
And then he took out Nick Lee at a ranking series in 2023. He somehow lost to Haliyev last year at the World Championships and kind of a funky match, and that really threw me off. But he is...
Haji Aliyev?
Yeah.
I mean, that's not a bad loss. Haji's crazy.
It's not a bad loss, but he's been so dominant that it's just in the way he's beaten every single American. He's not lost to an American. And then he beat Zane at the last chance qualifier. He's beaten all of our last few reps.
Yeah,
Zane, Yanni, Lee.
He is the pick, right, from that side.
Without a doubt.
So, okay, so the other side is Musakayev, Amuzad from Iran. They're the 2-3. So Musakayev's a 3. He will get Haji. Amuzad the 2. He will get Dudayev from Albania. And man, everybody loves Musakayev. Everybody loves him.
Well,
it's hard to.
What Musakayev will show up. The way he wrestled it last year at Worlds was incredible.
Unbelievable. And the thing is that we all saw that. We all saw that ability for 2.5 minutes. For like 3 years.
Yeah.
For like 3 years he could wrestle 2.5, 3 minutes and was like the greatest thing that ever graced a wrestling mat. Just electric. Yeah. But he would always fade. There's literally somebody, I think, at least it used to be. There's literally somebody that started a Twitter account called Musakayev's Gas Tank. But yeah, recently he's wrestled 6 minutes hard as hell, and that version of him is really tough to beat.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about some unseeded guys. Akhmat Aliyev from Kyrgyzstan, unseeded. Flo has him ranked 3rd in the world. Zane is ranked 6th in the world, and he's also unseeded. I don't know. Austin Gomez is unseeded. I don't know that there's anybody else of note that will or could be of consequence or disrupt the bracket.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
I got a cat right here, and he's not smart. This one's not smart. Uh,
How about the betting line for? Did you see who's the favorite?
no, I'm gonna peek real quick. But who is your pick?
So this is such an interesting weight. Zane's my pick. I think Zane flipped a switch at the last chance. He lost to Tomir, and then he went on an absolute tear. I think that gave him the confidence, and I think that this is 99% most likely Zane's last competition ever. And I think he is just going to go out there and let it fly. I don't think he has any pressure. I think we saw the pressure at the last chance qualifier in the backside, he turned it on. I think we're going to see that. I think, again,
I also think he's going to be fine at 65.
We saw that. We've already seen between the Olympic trials, the last chance, they got him down to 65 looking just as good as he was up at 70. I don't think weight is going to be a factor at all. That's just my opinion. I will say, again, Zane could get, I'd say for me, on the top side, it's Tumir Uchir is probably the favorite. And on the bottom side, Amazad from Iranian is probably the guy. So, hopefully Zane can avoid one of those two as an opening draw. But, I think Zane wins this weight.
I think if Zane avoids 3 guys, he's going to... And I think he can beat those guys as well. But I think he can make a deep run if he avoids Musakayev, Amuzad, and Ochir, and early, right?
Also, if Zane can get to the finals and have that 12-hour break, if there's truly 12 hours...
Put it this way. If you're Zane, you want to be in the top side. If Zane is... because right now...
Yes, I agree.
Ochir... And we went over this. He's an American killer.
Yep.
However, that topside path is going to be really, really nice. And nobody wants to talk about this, okay? But should Zane even lose to Ochir, he got a great job. He got a great shot of being pulled back in and going to a medal match.
Yep, that's true.
Right? You don't want to be in the top side because you're in the top side, you get a quarter, you'll lose to Musakayev, and then Amuzad beats Musakayev, right?
Yep.
And it, if you're listening and you say, well, Willie, you can't avoid 3 guys forever. That's a lot of guys. No, it's not. Look at the other brackets. There's a lot of guys to avoid. There's 3 guys here that if Zane doesn't get to him to the quarters, he could start rolling, and I like it. And Amazad, his results are really good. Musakayev presents different problems. Ochir presents different problems.
Very much.
Amazad is not difficult to figure out. I mean, he could be better than Zane. But, that match is going to be in play.
Yeah.
So, with not knowing where Zane's going, I'm going to take Musakayev over Ochir.
Do you want a really good betting play?
Yeah. Give it to me.
Tomir Ochir is plus 1,000.
Bro.
That is a very good play at this weight.
So
plus 1,000.
Let's run down the odds. Bet online odds at 65. Musakayev has the best odds. He's the favorite as far as odds. But you say favorite, but favorite's usually minus money. He's still plus 200.
Yep.
Amazad 350, Seabass 400.
Yeah.
Seabass better odds than Zane Rutherford, who was at 500. Tavanian 600. O'Cheer plus 1,000 is, man, that's such a great pick. I mean, who knows?
That is a great line.
His side of the bracket is very navigable. Although I would say this, I'm pretty sure, I might be wrong about this. I'm pretty sure Mongolia has never had a medalist in the Olympics.
Interesting.
Which is why, not the full reason why, but which is part of the reason why there were naked people in Rio.
Lest we forget. Yeah, and it was Musakayev who beat him in the Tokyo Olympics.
Good. So that's an interesting. It's been an interesting quad at 65.
And it's interesting. I don't know if it's just hesitation because of the weight or what. It's very interesting, and maybe this is also just Americans betting on Seabass as well, but I'm very surprised that the favorites, the lines have not switched between Zane and Seabass.
You know, it's funny that you say that because I was just thinking the same thing. Like the
It definitely, by the way, just to preface, I should say this too. When it opened a couple weeks ago, Zane was plus 900 and Seabass was plus 300. So it did narrow in where Zane went from plus 900 to plus 500 and Seabass went from plus 300 to plus 400. I'm still surprised those two didn't switch.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so we're saying that the market at 57 was changed largely because of American contingent. But if that was true, then you would expect Zane to surpass.
Unless Americans are betting on Seabass at the same time.
Maybe not. I don't. You know what? Despite Spencer not wrestling internationally for quite some time, at least in the world level, the Europeans know about him. Mm-hmm. They like sort of a little bit like obsessed with him. So maybe the Europeans are betting on him.
Well, yeah, I mean, let's not forget that, Zane's almost 30 years old. He was at the 2017 World Championships. He was at the 2019 World Championships. So he's a name that's been around.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking up. What is Amunza Khalil? Is that who? No. Who'd Yanni wrestle?
When?
Yanni in Worlds. Oh, maybe it is. Yanni in Worlds in 22.
It was Amuzad who beat him in the finals.
It was Amuzad, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
By the way, just a little sprinkle. If you're a Michigan fan, if you're a Gomez fan, Gomez is plus 4,000. If you're a big Michigan fan or a big Gomez fan and you're rooting hard for Gomez, plus 4,000, sprinkle that. What do you got to lose?
Yeah. My thing with Gomez, I think Gomez is one of those guys, that he can beat anybody, but stringing like four together, you know what I mean? Is that's really why tough.
But the odds reflect
he could be the best guy in the bracket, but then lose to a guy that he should beat.
Yep.
Okay. 74 is 74 Dake next topic.
Yes. He's the biggest favorite in all three weight classes by a mile. He opened up at minus 1,000, and even international, I think that bet against him, he's now down to minus 700. But Dake is the biggest betting favorite of the Olympics by a mile.
Who the hell's putting money on other
I don't
guys
know.
that way? Not that it's surprising that people took some long odds because the value was there, but so much money that it moves that much. So Kyle Dake is the number one seed.
I don't think people are really betting on Dake at 10-1. That's just, you're gonna bet $100 to win 10. So I just don't think people are laying that kind of money on Dake. So if you like Chamizo, if you like anybody else, it's not going to take much to move that line from 1,000 to 700.
Chamizo. I was over Chamizo like 5 years ago. Dake is the one. He will have a guy from Guinea-Bissau. Well, a guy from Guinea-Bissau is the 8. So if Guinea-Bissau wins his first round match, which is very dubious, that's who Dake would have. Also on that side, his semi would be either Takatani or Sabalov, who just got in, right?
Yep.
So, you know, they're both tough. I don't know. I honestly don't really know Sabalov's recent resume, to be honest with you. I mean, I know he won a world title a couple years ago, but I mean 4 or 5 years ago. But I don't know what he's done recently. So I mean, Dake's the big favorite to come out of that side of the bracket. On the other side, the number 10 ranked guy in the world, Bayramov of Azerbaijan, is second. Koutsiomidis from Greece is a 3. So that's a 2-3. 2 gets the 7. The 7 is Salkanazov from Slovakia, who I would take to beat Bayramov. 3 gets a 6. The 6 is Feng Lu of China, who I've never heard of. So obviously I would take Sabalov there, or Koutsiomidis. Man, and oddly, you know what? 74 is usually just wicked, and it's just like not.
It to me, with Sidakov being out, it really opened this up, and the betting odds show it that Dake is such a favorite. And you got a lot of tough guys in here, and you got some guys like Imami from Iran, unseeded.
Why is Imami? I was just looking that up. Why is Imami unseeded?
I don't know.
I mean, that's who Dake beat in Worlds in 22, right? In the finals?
I think so, yeah. If not the finals,
22
maybe the semis.
Or semis, yeah. Kyle Douglas Dake. That was a 2-2 match? Yeah, that was a 2-2 match. Dake does that sometimes. So Dake, give me Dake with Takatani and Sabalov on that side. Dake all day. I don't even know. I don't even know who comes out of the other side.
I think somebody who's unseeded.
So do I.
I mean, if Valia, if Imami goes down there, Magomedov could be down there. I think it's one of these unseeded guys that's going to end up down there. That's going to. I mean, obviously, this goes without saying. If you're unseeded, you want to be on that bottom side, not just to avoid Kyle Dake, but just. I mean, you got Sabalov, Takatani, Dake all up top. Like,
it's a weird way. It's like a lot of you got Kyle Dake, and then. I mean, we're discounting. We're failing to mention Caddy Magomedov.
I just mentioned him. I just said it. Yeah,
he's on the other side.
Correct. If he gets drawn into the bottom, put him in the finals.
And let's hope he gets drawn into the bottom. There's not too many matches that piss me off as much as that match in Tokyo. Because Dake was just a better guy. Like, he was just under the weather. And I said it immediately. I said, watch what happens now. Watch what happens going like 2022, 2023. And sure enough, they crushed him.
This is the fun weight that I cannot wait until the bracket comes out.
What is Caddy? What is? Let's go to odds. Dake minus 700 now. Jamalov plus 300. Jamalov? He's unseated too. All the good guys are unseated. Other than Dake, all the good guys are unseated. Jamalov, who's the second, he's the best favorite other than Dake, is unseated. Plus 300. Salkazanov, who is the fourth, no, he is the 7th seed. He is 1,200. I kind of like that value.
Who?
Although Salkazanov, like yeah. I like the value, how the seeds are, but if some of those, one of those unseeded guys are going to be on his side and it's going to bust it. No, I don't like.
You know, I'll tell you my like dark horse long shot play here is Imami at plus 4,000. If he can get a good draw on the bottom side and get to the finals,
that's a spot on. Spot on. That's the play. That's easy. This way, it's easy. Dake to win, Imami to bet.
Yeah.
86. Are you going to take?
Yes.
Aaron
yes.
Brooks.
I called him to beat David Taylor. Everybody laughed at me.
Talk about you can't take unseeded guys. You can't take I can't take unseeded guys. Well, this is one where it's an outlier. I think you certainly take Brooks to make the fun. I mean, you take Brooks to beat anybody, and now that's not to say like Karugliev, Miles Mean, Dolobektov. I mean, there's guys in here like if Aaron Brooks loses to one of these guys before he hits Yazdani, does you blow your mind? No. It's freestyle wrestling. Stuff happens, right? The world is good. However, pre-tournament assessment is that there's only one question: Brooks Yazdani.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Am I correct in that?
I think so, and I think the betting odds have not really changed too much. Yazdani's a 2-1 favorite, minus 200. Brooks is currently plus 125. You know what would suck
bad is if Brooks is on the bottom side. It would put Brooks, Yazdani, and Miles in the same side. That would suck.
It would suck. I still like Brooks' chances. But but I
guess what I'm saying is you got two Americans that are strong medal contenders, and one of them can't.
Yeah.
And I mean, they can. Brooks.
By the way,
Brooks beats Yazdani.
I also think Yazdani has medaled at the Olympics and Worlds every single year since 2015. And
dude, yeah.
I really hope him and Brooks are on opposite sides. I mean, I think Brooks wins. I don't care if they go meet in the first round of the finals. I'm taking Brooks. I think, and the sports books, they put a lot of respect on Brooks beating David Taylor 2 in a row. To put a guy with as little international experience as Brooks as only plus a couple hundred is crazy.
Well, I don't know. Frankly, to be honest, I don't know who. Maybe he beat some real players at U23s last year that I'm missing. But and so that's a little bit more of an indication. But you're right; it probably stems all from David Taylor. Now, but here's the thing:
he beat nobody you've ever heard of last year at the U23 World Championships.
Okay, two things. One, this year's David Taylor was not the beat Yazdani David Taylor. It wasn't the same guy. I don't know what to I mean, that does not mean that Aaron Brooks is not the dude. I'm just saying that Aaron Brooks did not beat the same guy that won Worlds last year. That's not the same human being. Okay.
Well, it is the same human being. It's David Taylor.
It's
so
not
here's
not
my
the same shape, not the same condition, not the same energy, not the same passion. Okay, and so there's other hurdles to be seen.
Well, one can make the same argument that Yazdani's not the same Yazdani. He hasn't won a gold medal since 2021.
Yeah, but he only loses to David Taylor.
Okay, and Brooks just beat him 2 in a row.
Brooks didn't beat that David Taylor.
It's debatable.
Okay. I'll say this too.
If David Taylor beat Brooks, nobody's having this conversation that it wasn't the same David Taylor. If David Taylor goes out and beats Brooks...
If David Taylor beat Aaron Brooks, he would have been the same David Taylor.
No, wrong. Sorry, no. Yeah, if David Taylor wins, if David Taylor wins, it's the same David Taylor. All of a sudden he loses, it's not the same David Taylor. It's the same David Taylor. Brooks beat him. Brooks beat him mentally before the match, and he beat him physically. He bullied him.
I don't know how that you could see David Taylor's performance and come to the conclusion that was the same version.
Because every single time David Taylor loses, which isn't often, it's not the same David Taylor. He lost to Yazdani in 2021 at Worlds, and instantly the conversation is, well, it's not the same David Taylor. He just wrestled the Olympics. It's not the normal David Taylor. But every other time he wins, he beat Brooks 2 in a row last year at the World. He beat Aaron Brooks last year 5-4 in the World Team Trials. If that match was 4-5, we're going to have the same conversation. Oh, it's not the same David Taylor?
I'm just using all the information available to me, and the information says David's heart wasn't totally in it, number one. David Taylor didn't look physically the same, and David Taylor, the most prolific scorer in freaking 10 years, didn't sniff a takedown against Aaron Brooks. Didn't sniff it. It just wasn't the same guy. Number one. Number two, what we said about Spencer, this is a key too for AB. Is he as good or better than Chirati? Very possible. He just beat the guy that almost always beats Chirati. However, what we said about Spencer comes into play here. Because Brooks could be better than Chirati and also has never felt Chirati. And Chirati has that certain thing that you need to... It definitely benefits you to have felt him before. His pressure, his pace.
I think Brooks has emulated that underhook throughout his career. I think he's really looked to Yazdani as like, this is what the best in the world's doing, and for years we've kind of seen him mimic that to a degree. So I don't disagree. I think that Yazdani is in for something. I'm very curious at where David Taylor has owned Yazdani. He has straight bullied him for the last X amount of years. I'm very curious at what Yazdani's thought is as far as, man, I just cannot get the best of David Taylor, and now he sees Aaron Brooks, and is he having the conversation in his head, oh, it's not the same David Taylor? Or is he saying, man, this is the next up-and-coming? I'm very curious at where Yazdani is in his head with how much like respect he has or what he's looking at for Brooks. I mean, Yazdani's a very respectful guy. I'm sure he's respecting Brooks, but I'm just very curious where he's at as far as, you know, what he thinks of Brooks. There's no doubt that Brooks is the big match that he's looking at. You know, it was David Taylor, and now I don't think he expected Brooks to win. So I'm sure there's some training and some thought going towards that, as, you know, he's known for the last, what's he won? He won silver last year, silver the year before. He won silver at the Olympics, and he beat Taylor in 2021 in Oslo. So he knows that the only guy, he has medaled every year at the World Olympics since 2015. The only
made the
time
finals every year.
No, 2018 he got a bronze. 2018 was the year David Taylor beat him early, first round, I think. So he's always right there. David Taylor is the guy for him that his eyes are on. So it's going to be very interesting to watch. I cannot wait until this bracket comes out.
All that being said, I'm taking Brooks. But
same. Your points are valid. I'm taking Brooks too, but
to me that is the discussion, and I think I'm right on the discussion. I'm just saying when you're doing the analysis, when you're doing the breakdown of things, here's the pros and cons for AB. Here's the concerns. Here's the pros and cons for Yazdani Charati. Ultimately, I'm taking AB. I think he's younger, hungrier, fresher, maybe just flat out better. But that to me is the storyline. So I was playing good cop, bad cop at the same time. But that's how I feel.
Yeah.
That's what I think the discussion is.
I agree. I agree that that's the discussion. I'm very high on Brooks to win. The odds kind of make me a little nervous because...
All right, let's go to the odds. Where are the odds? The odds are right here. Yazdani minus 200, AB plus 125. Everybody else is over $1,000. Bekoff 1,200, Miles 2,500, Karugliev 2,500, Shapayev 2,800.
And these lines have not changed too much, especially as far as Yazdani opened up at minus 200 and Brooks opened up at plus 175 when I saw this first on, I think, Bet Rivers. So the line hasn't moved too much, and it's very interesting because I think Yazdani minus 200 is a very bad bet. Betting Yazdani 2-1 that he's going to beat Brooks, I think, is a bad bet. At the same time, Brooks, I want the odds to be a little bit better because Brooks is young. Anything can happen. But still, it's like the sports books are basically saying, Justin, put your money where your mouth is. You think he's going to be the guy. Why is plus 125, plus 175
It's a pretty fair line. I would like a little bit more value too. But,
yep.
You know, it's an odd thing when you have a wrestling bracket and wrestling lines where, like, anything can happen. But really, the conversation is you have to beat one guy. You're betting on Yazdani versus Aaron Brooks.
By the way, I will say, too, from a betting standpoint, because wrestling betting is still very new. And the lines are, you know, I saw this during NCAAs, that the lines kind of come and go, whereas they can take the lines down at any time. It's not guaranteed. Like, typically with football, you have up until a minute the ball is kicked off to place a bet. Mm-hmm. With wrestling, the lines can come down and go back up. I think some rounds of NCAAs, they came down like an hour before the round started. All that to say, one thing I am also keeping an eye on is... And hopefully we can get an indicator first with women's freestyle, how long they keep the lines up. Because I would love to get the bracket and then make a few plays. Or double down on a few plays, where if all of a sudden you see somebody has a very good draw, I got to assume the lines are still going to be up and available. Draws are going to come out a day before.
I know, right? Like, what if the bracket gets drawn at 65 and nobody's on Ochir's side and he's plus 1,000?
Correct. That's what I'm saying. Like, I think there's going to be some value plays as the brackets come out. And the flip side of that is when the brackets come out and, Ochir looks like he's got a great draw, there's not that much money being bet. So if all of a sudden you start seeing some money, the lines are going to move very, very quickly. So you might lose that value pretty quickly.
Yeah. And here's sort of another one that you could say the same thing is at 97. Let's move to 97. And there's only a handful.
Hold on. The only last comment about 86 is, and why I thought about that is I might wait until the bracket comes out because there's a very big difference for Brooks plus 125. If he's in the top half versus the bottom half, a very big difference. So,
yeah.
By the way, same thing with Yazdani. If Yazdani's in the bottom by himself and he can get to the finals, minus 200 doesn't look that bad.
No.
So something to keep an eye on.
You're right. 97. There's only really 3 contenders, and if they're all on the same side, you might say there's a 4th contender because that guy has a really easy path to the finals. Magomedov of Azerbaijan is your 1 seed. Tazudanov, who won Worlds last year over Snyder and Sedulayev, is the 2. Snyder is the 3. So Taz and Snyder, same side. Unseeded is Azapira of Iran, who is a wild card. He's ranked number 2 in the world, and depending upon where he gets drawn in the bracket, he might be a really nice play. And it's one of the weirder weights when, if you go by Flo's rankings, it's probably the closest to the world rankings. There's only one unseeded guy in the top 9, and then all the 8 seeds are ranked in the top 9. So this is as chalk as maybe an accurate seeding as you get.
And by the way, part of that is these guys compete. This is a weight where Snyder goes everywhere you can go. Like, this is a weight, and not just Snyder, all of them, but this is a weight where we see them compete a lot, and that's why it is an accurate depiction of, where the rankings fall and where the seeds kind of fall.
Yep. So Snyder the 3, there's no real threats from the unseeded. You got South Africa, Egypt, Dominican Republic, Ukraine. Michelidze is not.
Listen, the finals in this weight, the finals is the bottom half semis. That's the finals for this. Initially, the way the seeds fell with Sedulayev being injured and out for a while, we were going to have Taz, Sedulayev, and Snyder all in the bottom half, which would have meant one of those guys was not medaling.
Right, because I think Sedulayev was the 6 originally.
Yeah, he was something down there.
Or he might have been the 7. Anyway, yeah, he was down there. So what we really hope is Azapira is in the top half.
Yep.
Then it creates a really clear picture in that Snyder Tazudanov is going to be your semi. So my thoughts on Taz and Snyder, and Taz had this otherworldly. It was one of the most awesome world championship runs ever, because he was kind of new to the scene. There was he did have a handful of results, prior, but not anything that indicated. You could have said, "Hey, watch for this kid. He's a promising star. He's a promising prospect."
Yeah.
But anybody who says, "Oh yeah, I saw he could go with Snyder and Sedgwick," stop it. You're lying. Because there was nothing to indicate that. In fact, he got beat at Asians like a month, 2 months before. But man, he really proved that he's the dude. It wasn't just winning 3-2, winning 6-4. He was utterly impressive in the manner in which he did it. That being said, Snyder got to attacks a couple times. Zudnov scored big points on a couple counters, and it wasn't like Snyder was getting outclassed or outhorsed. He was getting to some spots, right? And I think, it's not one of those cases where it's like, I saw that match and our guy's never going to beat that guy. I think that there's a chance.
I think Taz wins this. I think he is just the more. So since he beat Snyder, he's looked just as impressive. It does not look like that was a fluke performance. On the international scene, he just beat Mohammedian of Iran 8-2 as he won the Asian Championships. I know that Jonathan Aiello and Colin Moore aren't Kyle Snyder, but he also 11-0'd and 10-0'd those guys. So he's come up 3-0 against Americans, tech falling and not giving up a single point. Now, we do have some of the best coaches in the world, especially in that state college room. It's why I think Roman Bravo Young could win a medal. It's why I think Zane is going to win gold. So I do think that Snyder can make adjustments, and he definitely has a shot. But I think with what this kid has done, and I think, the sports books are showing that. He's Taz minus 200, I think, isn't giving him enough credit for what he's done. I was surprised he wasn't a bigger favorite, especially with Sedgulayev not in the field, because you got Taz minus 200 and Snyder plus 180. So
I wish they would let me do lines, because you know what I'd do.
What would you put Taz and Snyder at this weight?
Well, all right, I haven't looked at these yet. What are they? Okay, so Taz is minus 200, Snyder is plus 180. I think that's pretty spot on.
Especially because the winner of that match, if it happens in the semis, is very likely to beat Magomedov or whoever comes out of the top, maybe the Iranian. This is another line, though, too, where, again, I think there's a very clear 1-2 separated from the field.
Well, the thing is, too, that Snyder, plus 180, I almost feel like it's a little low. Like, I think he probably should be like plus 225 or something, because and for this reason, despite Kyle, and part of it might be how much he competes, but he'll drop a match here and there, right? Yep. It's not been a case where it's only Taylor, it's only Taylor or Tirati. One of them's going to win. Snyder's lost to Taz. He's lost to Sedgulayev, but he's also lost to, I don't know, Shapayev or he's lost to weird guys, right?
But I don't think he's lost to too many recently. I think in this last quad, it was really pretty much just Taz, I think.
Yeah, you're right. But you know what I would do? I would cut down on some of these, like why there's a plus 25,000 line for the guy from Dominican Republic, or wherever, I don't even know what that is. Why there's 20 plus 25,000 for Nicholas DeLange of South Africa? Stop that stuff, right? And do odds to medal. You do odds to win and odds to medal. I would love. That's, to me, is real interesting.
Even more interesting if once the bracket comes out, because then you can play the bracket.
So I'm taking Taz. I hope Snyder does it.
Yeah, I'm taking Taz. I'm rooting for Snyder hard. This says a lot about Snyder's future. If he beats Taz, I'm bullish on the next quad for Snyder. If he doesn't beat Taz, will Snyder be able to win gold again? Because Seduliv's going to come back. Seduliv's not done. So you still got Sedulive in the field. So it's going to be interesting. Can he win it without Sedulive in the field and get revenge on Taz? It's interesting.
Kyle loves it, and he still, despite he started on senior level at such a young age, making world teams at such a young age, that we think if you think he might be at the end of his career, I don't blame you, because he's been around forever. But
no, I don't. Listen, he said he wants to compete forever. I don't think he's going to stop. But whether he wins a bronze medal for the next 10 years or wins 4 golds, whatever, I think this Olympics will tell us a lot. He's only 28 years old. He's young.
It could. I think he'll be fine regardless. I think Kyle's kind of shown that people come, people go, and he's still around. He's medaling every year, So
I hope he gets it done. I really hope Snyder gets back on top. I'd love to see him repeat as an Olympic gold. This is his third Olympics. He's only 28 years old.
I know. All right. Heavyweights. Last weight. Number 1 ranked in the world, Amir Zare from Iran is the top seed. The second seed is Petriashvili of Georgia. He's down the bottom with Mason Paris of the Stars and Stripes. Petriashvili will have the 7, which is Baran of Poland, and Mason will have the 6, which is Meshvil. I don't know how to say that name, from Azerbaijan, and he should certainly win that. Up top with Zare is Agul, and Mom Spaghetti, Daniel Ligeti from Hungary. And that's pretty straightforward, right? I mean, I think it's a pretty straightforward way. I mean, I think the seeds are such. I think there's not a lot of threats. Almost
this is the most chalk weight,
right?
And I think the lines are very. This is the weight. The lines are the most accurate. Zari at minus 200. Paris plus 250.
Very simple. So let's go like this. Top side, Zare or Agul?
Zari.
Bottom side, Paris or Petriashvili?
Paris.
Final, Zare or Paris?
I'm so torn. Zari has looked very good. He's beaten Gwiazdowski 3 times in a row. He's made it look easy. Paris has been so dominant. I'm going Paris. I really think he can go and get it done. I think he's going to win gold, and I think it's going to be a testament to just how freaking good our heavyweights are. Zari beat Gwiazdowski 3 times. But also, Gwiazdowski didn't even make the finals of the Olympic trials right now. Our heavyweights continue to just improve and improve and improve. And
not only that, Mason's in a great room for heavyweights.
Yeah, and Paris has separated himself. He 7-0'd Hayden Zilmer twice in a row at the finals and
Well,
Olympic
it's,
trials.
you know, you think about it too. Even going back to, what I do most of the time is analyzing recruits, and I had Mason. Well, where did I have Mason? I had Mason very high in the big board coming out, and I always say I had Mason third behind Stevenson and Brooks, right? So that's how much I thought of him, and a lot of times you take those multi-sport athletes and you say, if they dedicate themselves to one sport, to wrestling only, there's even a higher ceiling, right? And I think that's what we saw out of Mason. Mason went from multi-sport in high school to folk style and now freestyle. And so the learning curve was considerable. He had to go from multi-sports to wrestling only in college, mostly about control, to freestyle, which is a whole different ball of wax.
Yeah.
And I think it's proven true that he continues to jump levels. And we saw him win an NCAA title, and now his task is freestyle, world scene. That being said, and Mason is still young. That being said, I'm gonna take Gino in that match. I'm gonna take Gino. I'm gonna take Zare over Gino, and Paris bronze.
If that's how it finishes, I would not be surprised at all. Gable beat Petrovilli at the last Olympics with literally a last-second takedown in a 10-8
no
barn burner. That match could have gone either way. So Gino's right there. I think that, Mason, having Gable and having the heavyweights we have, Mason has just continued to impress me. I mean, and it's funny how many different levels there are at heavyweight right now, but Mason has looked so good. Even last month or 2 months ago, he was at the ranking series. He beat Master Trevili from Georgia, who won bronze the last 2 years. He beat him 9-2. Then he got a 10-0 tech fall, and then he got a pin in the finals. He has looked so good.
Interesting. Gable was a phenom, never lost in high school, very rarely. And he came out his first year in college, and he lost to Kassar. And several people have said it. I said it. This could be the best thing that ever happened to Gable. And I think it made him reset and refocus and dedicate and take it as serious as possible. It wasn't, I'm not to say that he thought everything was easy, but he was a phenom, right?
Yeah.
And I think that loss made him rededicate himself and really focus. And I think maybe the same thing could be said about Mason, in the sense that he always had to get to Gable,
Yep.
get to Gable. And so he had that motivation, right? And the hunger, that drive. And, losing to Gable might have been the best thing for him.
I agree.
And I hope that he beats Gino. I think he can, 100%. I think he can beat Gino. And a lot of times, it's a weird thing, because so many people watch the show and then they say, "Oh, Willie, you didn't give me any respect, or you didn't pick me, or this and that." And there's a fine line to me. No doubt I want Mason to win badly. But there's a fine line to me between, I want to pick the guys, and I want to I want to pick every American, right? I don't want to be unrealistic. I don't want to be get caught up in the moment, and I almost don't want to set expectations for myself. Like I don't want to get too optimistic.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
So let's look at the odds here. You were talking about them a little bit. Zare minus 200, Mason plus 250, Agel plus 450, Gino plus 600.
Gino's the best line here to bet. Him at plus 600 is probably the best play for your money. You know, Zari a 2-1 favorite to win gold. Mason Paris plus 250. I think we'll see one of those as the winner. But if Gino can come out the bottom side and make it to the finals, and you have a plus 600 guy in the finals, I like that. That's good value, I think.
I see value in a lot of these guys. I mean, well, I shouldn't say. I don't know, man. I think there's value in Zare. I think there's value in the top four.
They do got to cut some of these. You got Amar Desi plus 10,000.
Yeah, just stop. Just stop wasting your time. Unless I think like family and friends are going to bet on guys.
But if you bet $10 on Amar Desi to win the Olympics, you can win $1,000.
Yeah.
It's kind of
that's
crazy.
What you're doing?
No, I'm not betting on him, but I'm just...
All right, so those are our picks. What's...
So I got USA medaling at every weight.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
No, which is scary.
That's why I try to hedge. I try to temper my expectations. Like those journalist picks for the mat.com, like especially with the women, like I want Kennedy Blades to win so badly. I want her to win so badly, but I didn't pick her. I don't want to set myself up for disappointment. I would rather be wrong and cheer than be wrong and be bummed.
The women's, I don't know the field, obviously, as well as I do the men's freestyle side. But my main takeaway from the women's side is the Japanese are such favorites. Susaki is minus 1,000 over Hildebrandt, who's such a staple. Helen's plus 175. Like, Japan is a favorite at almost every weight. Kennedy Blades and Amit Elor are the two where Americans are favored at. Amit is minus 175.
Dude, Sasaki has lost like one time since like ever.
Yeah, I feel bad for people like Sarah who get somebody like that in your weight.
And it was another Japanese. And Sarah has been freaking amazing, and she's still plus 900.
I know. It's crazy. Sasaki has won gold at 2017 Worlds, 2018 Worlds, 2020 Tokyo, 2022 Belgrade, 2023 Belgrade. 5 world and Olympic golds, and she's only 25 years old.
Yeah, and the 1 or 2 years that she didn't win, she didn't go.
Right. If she goes, she's only 1 gold.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I took Sasaki. I took Fujinami at 53. I took Sakurai at 57, even though that's another case where I want Helen to win so bad.
I like that Helen will have that match if they see each other in the semis. I like that she'll have that full day of momentum heading into the semis, where that would be her 4th match of the day. She'll have the momentum. She'll be feeling good. I think that is such a great place for her to have that match.
Wow. So I picked all the favorites. I picked
Shocker.
all the favorites.
No, not Kennedy. Kennedy's a favorite.
Except that one. I didn't know. This is the first time I looked at these.
Did you pick Amit?
Yeah, that's the only American I picked. I picked Sasaki. I picked Fujinami. I picked Sakurai. I picked Tiny Bekoff. I picked Amit. And then I picked Kennedy is plus 175. Kizzy's plus 180. So she's almost the favorite.
Yeah. And that might be American money coming in, moving that.
That's true. That's true. I want, there's guys like I want all the Americans to win, right? But there's like certain ones that really have a shot. I didn't pick Spencer. I didn't pick Zing. I didn't pick Mason. I didn't pick Helen. I didn't pick Kennedy. I'm just trying to temper my expectations.
Yeah. No, I get it.
So, hey, what's our schedule? What's our schedule going to be like?
I think we need to go live. Let's see, men's freestyles Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I think we need to go live after action winds down at around 3 or 4 in the afternoon. I say we do a happy hour recap.
Well, we should do a daily recap after each day until then. And then when men's freestyle starts.
Well, it also depends on what happens.
And also we have to do a bracket show, a bracket release. Even if it's 10 minutes.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think we just need to go live. We just need to go live and just go through it. And, we need to be live as often as possible this week because it's going to be a fun week.
Together. Should I just fly? Should I just take a flight?
Just come out to New York. Just come out to New York. You know how much meat we can throw in the Traeger all week?
Did you, when Kale went to Bill's camp, did he come to your house for dinner?
No, he was in and out. He came, and it's only a 3-hour drive, so it's not like he stayed overnight or anything. I texted him as he was getting ready to leave, and he said he's got to get right back to Penn State.
I recently bought Kale a present. Swear to God.
Really?
I swear. I mean, it's a present. It's a surprise. So I'm not telling you what it is. I'll call you after this.
Yeah, people were asking why Kale was at Bill's camp and not Paris. It was 2 weeks before action kicked off. They didn't need to go that early. You already had Nick Lee, Jake Varner, and Cody, and Casey all over there already.
Dude, some of these guys have been over there forever.
I know. It's crazy. They're loving it, though. It's a beautiful place. Nick Lee, his travel adventures have been so fun to follow.
Have they?
How about Nick Lee? You're over in Paris, and the most minute, detailed change. You're in the finals of the Olympic trials, and now you're a Penn State coach and training. It's so crazy how little difference things differently could have been.
He texted me, "You come to Paris." I said, "Should I have a press pass?" He said, "Duh." He said, "Duh, gonna be sick."
Hey, can I
I said, what he said? He said, "I have no idea. They haven't said it to us yet." He said, training partners, athletes, and coaches are all in different spots." I said, "I'm your training partner," and he said, "I like my chances."
Hey, do you think Lopez wins number 5?
I picked it, but number 1. Okay, so this is my rationale for picking him. I'll give you the pros and cons of the pick there. The pros of the pick are he is a large mountain of a man in a sport that in a style that's you just got to move somebody, and you can't move them. All right. So, like, first of all, it's going to be 2-1, 3-2, right? It's going to be that. That's the score. That's the final score. Okay. So he has a puncher's chance. So that's my rationale. The con is, I'll be dead honest with you. I don't know. I do not. I am not an expert in that field, right? So,
well, and we don't really talk about Greco too much, but real quick to touch on it, so we can say we did. All 4 Americans who qualified the weight are going to be unseated. So you're already going into this where, hopefully they get good draws. We can get a medal or two. It'd be great for the state of Greco in America. Adam Kuhn is a monster. He competes tomorrow, Monday. Kamal Bey is always exciting to watch. Joe Rao has an incredible story, and Peyton Jacobson. So hopefully those 4, hopefully we can get some medals.
Let's check my picks versus the Greco odds on the books. I picked the Japanese guy at 57. 60. Okay, so I took Fumita, who's minus 120. He's the second favorite. The first favorite is Sharshenbekov from Kyrgyzstan, who's minus 130. So I took a high, not the favorite, but the second favorite. I took Orta at 67. Orta's the favorite, plus 125. Jeez. Man, I just missed Garay. I would have took Garay. I love him. Plus 175. I took the favorite there. Who else did I take? I took Makhmudov at 77. That's going to be wrong. That was a flyer. He's a favorite. Minus 250. Holy crap. Okay, I took Singiz from Turkey at 87. Ooh, and I went against my boy at 97. I'm interested to see what the odds are there. I went against my boy. 87, the Hungarian, is minus 125. Singiz is the second, plus 125. So I took a lot of twos. I took Saravi at 97 because, and I'll tell you why. I love Artur Alexandrian, but I jinxed him last time. I took him. Every time I take him, he loses. So I took Saravi, who's plus 600. Win some, lose some. I don't pretend to be a Greco expert, but most of my picks were top 3 guys.
Nothing wrong with that. All right. Well, that's the Olympic preview show. Nice couple hours to get everybody ready. We will share on Twitter when we're going live. We will be going live throughout the week.
A lot.
And, let's have some fun this week. Once every 4 years.
All right. I'm gonna call you right now and tell you what Kale's president.
All right. That's the show.
And the beat goes on.